After analyzing more than 15 standard books for anthropology optional, more than 20 topper notes that are prevalent among aspirants for anthropology optional, and eventually 30 plus government publications related to anthropology as a subject, we have come up with the ultimate book list for anthropology optional, And I do not take this word ultimately very lightly. I call this book list to be ultimate because it has been made from only one point of view, and that point of view is yours. That perspective is yours. We have made this video from the perspective that this is going to be the most detailed video ever uploaded for anthropology optional on YouTube or at any platform by any particular institute. This is the objective that we started this particular video with. The team started the research with, and I believe that we have achieved that particular objective. And I hope you will agree at this particular notion after seeing this particular video. The ultimate book list for anthropology. This is going to be the only video that you will need for anthropology optional, because the team has researched all the material that is related to anthropology in the markets of Old Rajnagar, of Karol Bagh, of Mukherjee or wherever. We have researched everything, we have analyzed, and we have come up with the ultimate book list for anthropology for you. Following the earlier videos, we'll go one more step ahead, and at Nirnay IAS, we'll structure and provide you all the non-IPR related anthropology material at a single place. इंटरनेट पे किसी टेलीग्राम चैनल पे, किसी और टेलीग्राम चैनल पे, किसी वेबसाइट पे, all the topper notes, the government publications, the government reports, the topper test copies and everything has been spread, है ना? तो एक एस्पिरेंट को ढूंढने में, उसको स्ट्रक्चर करने में, ऑर्गेनाइज करने में, व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, व्हाट इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट, डिस्टिंग्विश करने में a lot of time has been wasted. Time is wasted. We at Nirnay IAS, we have made this Telegram channel for you guys so that everything related to anthropology can be resolved here. I'll be the one facilitating this channel. You can connect with me through this particular channel or otherwise as well. So hello and welcome. My name is �𝐚𝐭. This is the ultimate book list for anthropology. I teach anthropology optional at Nirnay IAS Testbook, and you guys can see, you guys can check out the course for anthropology optional here. You can just search anthropology optional by �NikhilParihar and you can check out the course. If you want an expert session, if you want to just see a demo video, you guys have feel free to go ahead and see it or book your expert counseling session. And if you want to connect with me after seeing this particular book list and want to decide what is best for you, you can fill out the form that is given here in the description in at YouTube, and we'll connect later on. So let's get started without further ado for the ultimate book list of anthropology. Right. So the first thing was that when the team was going, when we were going through all the resources that are there in the market, we realized that most of the resources that toppers are using, the different category of students that are using, they are the same only. But how they are utilizing, how selective they are being, क्या यूटिलाइज कर रहे हैं, क्या नहीं कर रहे हैं, क्या किस कॉम्बिनेशन में यूटिलाइज कर रहे हैं एस्पिरेंट्स इन रिसोर्सेज को, इस एनालिसिस से वी गॉट थ्री कैटेगरी ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स, थ्री टाइप्स ऑफ स्टूडेंट विथ एंथ्रोपोलॉजी ऑप्शनल. व्हाट इज द फर्स्ट काइंड? द फर्स्ट काइंड इज people who are scoring less than 240 marks, less than 240 marks. And the second kind are people who are scoring from around 240 to 280 marks, right? 240 to 280 marks, 240, 270 to 280 is a respectable score. Then the third category of student, everybody wants to be this particular kind of student, which is 280 plus marks, and eventually 300 plus marks in anthropology optional. The marks which will get you your dream cadre, your dream job, your dream posting, whatever. These are the three category of students. इनकी बुक लिस्ट में, इनकी अप्रोच में बहुत माइन्यूट अंतर है, बट वो माइन्यूट अंतर ना, it snowballs and it eventually leads to a difference of 40, 50, 60, 70 marks in the actual examination. So here's what we are going to do. I am going to tell you each and every resource that is prevalent in the market. Pehle, I will expose you to all the resources that are prevalent in the market. Standard books हो सकती हैं, toppers notes हो सकते हैं, introductory books हो सकती हैं, government publications हो सकती हैं, guides हो सकते हैं, coaching materials हो सकते हैं. सबसे आपको इंट्रोड्यूस कराऊंगा, एंड देन इवेंचुअली विल चॉक आउट द अल्टीमेट बुक लिस्ट फ्रॉम दिस. What is the ultimate book list? The third category of students which are following the book list, that is the ultimate category of book list, right? Will expose what is the hidden material that not everybody knows to different aspirants who are from watching this video from different corners of the country, who are not fortunate enough, who do not have the luxury of being in Delhi and preparing. So they at times are left out with the minute knowledge that are among veteran aspirants, that is spread in the gullies of Old Nagar, for so-called gullies of Old Nagar, right? So this is how we'll go about this particular video. तो पहले मैं आपको expose करूंगा सारी ultimate resources से, but you do not have to worry, है ना? बिल्कुल चिंता करने की बात नहीं है, इतना सारा हमें नहीं पढ़ना है. We'll chalk out a plan. It is said that those who are committed to nothing are distracted by everything. तो ऐसा होता है when students are preparing, they decide a book list through a topper's talk or by some asking their friend who is also preparing. But eventually in the journey they realize, in the journey that they realize that there are other resources also, there are better resources also. Then they get confused, then they distract, then they change their course midway, and it leads to a catastrophe, right? So this is what we have to avoid, and that is why आपको सारे resources से expose करके हम ultimate book list chalk out करेंगे, so that आगे चल के आप distract ना हो, you do not get confused with respect to the resources that you have to follow, right? So the first resource that we will start with, something called as the introductory books. जैसे जीएस में आपके लिए एनसीईआरटीज होती है ना, जैसे आपकी जीएस में एनसीईआरटीज होती है, एनसीईआरटीज आर देयर फॉर यू. Similarly, there is something called as Kerala State Board books for anthropology, class 11th and class 12th, which will help you in making a very good foundation for anthropology optional, a very good foundation for anthropology optional for you guys, right? Along with that, there is another book which is a very critical introductory book. It will make anthropology, it will tell you anthropology as a movie, as a story to you, so that your understanding when you will be reading the detailed units of the syllabus, it will be better. That book is called Ember and Ember. That book is called Ember and Ember. So if you are somebody who is going to prepare, who is appearing for the 2026 or the 2027 attempt, or somebody who has the luxury of giving more than 4 months for anthropology optional, I suggest that you guys should not miss these resources, because you might not be able to see the difference. But जब bouncer questions आते हैं ना, when bouncer questions are asked in the exam, then these are the resources which are there for you, which will back you up, and you'll be able to answer even bouncer questions. You'll write something in the bouncer questions, right? So do not skip these resources if you are going to allot more than 4 months, if you have the luxury of allotting 4 months for anthropology, right? Moving on, then there are standard books. In the standard books for socio-cultural anthropology, we have standard books called as Upadhyay and Pandey. One standard book which is Upadhyay and Pandey. Second book is Makhan Jha. Second book is Makhan Jha. Third book is D.N. Majumdar. Third book is D.N. Majumdar. And the fourth is In Search of Ourselves by Vaid. Right. These are the four books that are there for socio-cultural anthropology. इसमें से कौन सी पढ़ना है, कौन सी अवॉइड करना है, we'll get into it in the ultimate book list, right? For the physical anthropology, or some people would like to call it as biological anthropology, we have Pinath, the most famous book, unfortunately so, the most famous book, Pinath. Then we have BM Das, and then we have a foreign author's book, which is Crack Stanford's Biological Anthropology. These are the three books that are there for physical anthropology optional, or physical anthropology dimension, right? After that, we have Indian and tribal anthropology. Indian and tribal anthropology. For paper 2, Indian anthropology and tribal anthropology, we have Nadeem Hasnain sir's book and LP Vidyarthi sir's book for these two particular dimensions. And lastly, we have DK Bhattacharya sir's book, Professor DK Bhattacharya's book on archaeology, which is there in both your paper 1 and paper 2, right? Professor DK Bhattacharya's book. These are the standard books that we have to follow. But there are some issues with these standard books. There are issues with the standard books, because of which standard books are not very prevalent in anthropology as compared to other optionals such as geography or sociology, where standard books are the foundational resources. Why? Because number one, most of these resources have been written in 1990s, 1980s, right? Most of them have been written in 1990s and 1980s. So the contemporariness in the syllabus, the elements which have increased in the recent point of view, for example, physical anthropology has an enormous amount of dimensions in the last few years, has created an enormous amount of dimension in the last few years. They are missing from these particular resources. Apart from that, the content which is needed for anthropology right now, the advanced content that is needed for anthropology right now, because for the last few years anthropology has been one of the most popular optionals. So the toppers notes have extracted all the important content from here, and we have gone a way beyond that, a step beyond that, and a further enhanced content is available in the market which these standard books are not providing. Third, none of these books, almost none of these books, have to be read cover to cover. So selective reading is important. Selective reading. Now, which chapters to read, which topics to read, which to avoid for a new aspirant, all these things are very, confusing. So that is why these are the limitations or concerns associated with topper or standard books. After the standard books and the introductory books, we have something called as the guides. जैसे स्कूल्स में गाइड्स होती थी, वैसे ही यहाँ पर भी देर आर वेरियस गाइड्स, यहाँ पर भी देर आर वेरियस गाइड्स इन द एंथ्रोपोलॉजी जर्नी विच आर पॉपुलर अमंग एस्पिरेंट्स, and I will say unfortunately popular among aspirants, right? So these guides, namely Anthropology Demystified, written by a former present IAS officer, all India rank under 5 officer, and then there is Anthropology Simplified, right? All of both of these are written by toppers only. Basically, they converted their notes into a particular book, which was very good at that particular point of time. But nowadays, every aspirant, anthropology demystified or anthropology simplified, or most of the 80%, 85% of the aspirants are reading these books and writing dicto answers, word to word answers. And when everybody is writing the same thing, then differentiation of your answers, enhancement of your answer will lack. And if it will lack, you will not got good enough marks. Any other coaching institutes material that you want to point out here? XYZ notes, XYZ notes, ABC notes, 1 to 3's notes, they will fit in the definition of guides. Guides will help you get around 240 marks. If you supplement guides with something, it might also help you to get 260 to 70 marks, but it will never help you get 280 plus marks unless and until you're doing something which is authentic. So moving away from guides for a while, we have something called as toppers notes. Now, there
Isaac
was a
Newton का एक
beautiful quote said by Sir Isaac Newton. He had said that if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. And we as aspirants, we as people who are appearing with anthropology optional in the civil services examination, we can never neglect the contributions of the toppers notes, the toppers who have been before us, who have consolidated all the random and the unorganized and the unstructured resources in the market and led anthropology to be the one of the most popular subjects for civil services examination. So which toppers notes are most popular in the market? A lot of them, apparently a lot of them. And here are these. Abhijit Ray, Amit Narayan, Apala Mishra, Dr. Kashmira, Dwij Goel sir, Gitanjali Sharma, Lagi Matewari, Mandar Patki, Mani Ratnam, Roja S. Rajan, Sachin Gupta, Surbi Goel, Utkarsh Jaiswal, Vasant Dabolkar, Vinayak Mahamuni, and Yogesh Patil sir. And many more. I know I have not included all of them, but many more. So these are the toppers notes that are there. So what is present? Almost all of these resources, 80% of these resources are alike. 80% of them are alike. Na? The only distinction is the validation. The only positive of these toppers note is the consolidation. सारे standard books से selective reading करके important चीजें इन्होंने note format में आपको organize करके दी हैं. These are the toppers resources that are popular in the market. My favorites is Apala Mishra ma'am's notes and Lagima Tiwari ma'am's notes. Right. These are one of my few favorite toppers notes. We'll talk about it where, like, what toppers notes you have to read in which particular unit in the ultimate book list for anthropology, right? So moving away from toppers notes for a while, there are some government resources, authentic new data, initiatives, programs, and statistics that are given to you by the government annually, biannually, or at certain period of intervals, right? What are these government resources? The first one is the resources uploaded, the annual report uploaded by Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Ministry of Tribal Affairs annual reports. This is 2021, 21, 22, 22, 23, and 23, 24, right? Post that, there are resources based on the census of India, that is ST profile of India, because we have something called as tribal anthropology. So these reports are, very important from that perspective. Beyond that, there are other government resources such as the Kaka Committee report, the Buria report, the Loco report, the Mungekar report, and the other that are there and published by the government of India. All these things are there. These are the government resources. Now, what type of aspirant is following which resource? What type of aspirant is following which resource? People who are scoring less than 240 marks. People who are scoring less than 240 marks. These people, what they're doing, traditionally, what they're doing is they're basing their preparation on the guides only. है ना? Guides only. ये guide से पढ़ते हैं. This is what is anthropology for them. No organicness, no story building, no depth of content, not able to answer bouncer questions. And they also refer to standard books. Standard books. क्या ये परचेज करते हैं? परचेज तो करते हैं. They purchase standard books, and unfortunately some hardworking students go through these standard books cover to cover, word to word, everything in detail, but the return on investment is low if you're reading everything, the outdated content and the large enormous amount of content that is there without selective reading, right? So these are the people who are scoring around less than 240 marks. Now the second category of students who are scoring around 240 to 280 marks, who are scoring around 240 to 280 marks. What are these aspirants doing? What are these aspirants doing? These aspirant, number one, they are referring to some topper notes, or maybe guide. You're combining topper notes and guides, multiple topper notes or one particular topper note or guide, and they're making a consolidated note out of it. Their own notes, consolidated notes. They're out of it. I just said now 80% of the toppers notes are similar in content. Why? Because all of them are following a similar routine, but they're consolidating and value editing and enhancing. So this is increasing their depth, and this is increasing their broadness of content, and this is increasing their command of the subject. Along with this, what these people are doing, these are doing selective reading, selective reading of standard books, of standard books. What chapters to read, what to avoid, which to read, which book to avoid, where you have to read standard books, where you have to avoid. For example, Indian anthropology and tribal anthropology standard books can be avoided. Archaeology में it cannot be. Sociocultural में कुछ part में standard books can be avoided. Anthropological theories में it cannot be. So all these things are there, which we will discuss further. So these people are doing this. Eventually, these 240 to 80 people, they realize, if they have given multiple mains, they realize that something is missing, because of which they are not able to score more than 280 or 300 plus marks. You know? Now, this knowledge is very limited to veteran aspirants or people who have cleared. But there are some resources in the market which are the ultimate resources. Almost all the questions are being framed from that particular resources. The examiners who are going to check your copy, they have made that particular resources. They frame the questions from that particular resources, and almost all the questions come from those particular resources. 2024 mein there was a bouncer question on ILO in paper 2, International Labour Organization Convention. Nowhere, no market material had it, but only that magic material had it. So what are these people who are scoring 280 plus or 300 plus marks doing? Number one, they are basing their core material, foundation material is toppers notes only. Toppers notes, toppers notes only. Second thing is there is a foundational material which is giving them depth, which is giving them understanding the subject, which is the magic material, right? Which is the magic material. And along with that, in very few units, they are referring to standard books, right? So what is this material wherein all the questions are being framed from? What are these important magical materials? that people eventually realize after further attempts, 4 or 5 attempts. This is Indira Gandhi National Open University's MAN course material, Masters in Anthropology material, which is given, which is freely available on the internet and which is there in our Telegram channel as well for you guys in an organized and structured way. 𝐻𝐚𝐿's Masters in Anthropology content. This is one resource. The second resource is EPG Pathshala's material. EPG Pathshala's material resource that is given. Now, these are two important materials that you have to do selectively, even these selectively for making your score 280 plus or 300 plus. We'll discuss this in the upcoming part of the video, but I'll just show you how you have to go through the EPG Pathshala material. Right. So you'll just search for EPG Pathshala material for anthropology. This is the ultimate thing that people avoid: EPG Pathshala and 𝐻𝐚𝐿's Masters of Anthropology material. Now you do not have to read it cover to cover, right? You do not have to read it cover to cover. So what do you have to go? Like what do you have to do? For sociocultural anthropology, I'll suggest that you refer to Topper's notes, Topper's notes for the broadness, and depthness of your content. For the depth of your content, you can either go for Apala Mishra or you can go for Lagima Tiwari. है ना? You can go for both any of these people and that would be enough. The second thing that you have to do here is you have to do selective reading of Masters of Anthropology course from 𝐻𝐚 of particular resources, right? For sociocultural anthropology. For every particular unit, there is a distinguished handout that is given by Masters of Anthropology course. You can read it. This is for understanding. This is for story building. And this is for tackling bouncer questions, right? Bouncer questions. Here in sociocultural anthropology, there is one particular unit, which is unit 6 of anthropological theories. For this, you can use the 𝐻𝐼𝐴 Pandey book. The 𝐻𝐼𝐴 Pandey book, because this forms the basis of whole anthropology. How you have to, go about something from an anthropological perspective. That is how you'll have to go through this. This is not for all sociocultural anthropology. There are multiple units in such sociocultural anthropology. Here we are just concerned about what? We're just concerned about unit 6. Moving on. For physical anthropology, no standard book. Topper's notes that you have to refer, or any other coachings notes that you're doing. If you're doing any coachings notes, for example, at Nirnay IAS, what we have done is in my course, we've combined all the Topper's notes and all the standard books materials into one consolidated resource and we give it in the class. Along with that notes, even then I tell people to read 𝐻𝐚 material for story building and everything. So if you're somebody who's taking a class, then you follow that particular notes. If not, then you can refer to Apala Mishra's notes. Here, I will not give you a choice. She has written like very good. She's a doctor by profession, so she has written very good notes for physical anthropology. The second thing is that you have to refer to EPG Pathshalas. Here you have to refer to EPG Pathshala unit wise, right? EPG Pathshala. The third thing is any other contemporary development with respect to biotech or genetics that is happening. You can read it in your GS3 Science and Technology, or you can follow this particular Telegram channel wherein we'll be posting the links of any development that is happening. You can do value addition. This is for physical anthropology. Then for archaeology, standard book by Professor Bhattacharya. Same person who has framed a lot of question papers for anthropology, who has been who has been the foundation for, who has given a particular book which is Prehistoric Archaeology by Professor Bhattacharya, D.K. Bhattacharya. He has very popular videos in EPG Pathshala for archaeology. He's the authority for archaeology in India, right? Standard book by Professor Bhattacharya. Then along with that, you can follow any guide here because the archaeology is very complicated and complex. Just to simplify, just to hedge your bets, अगर अच्छे से नहीं कर पाए तो एक proper basic minimum resource तो रहेगा. For these things, you have to club this. Any guide of your choice. Anthropology Demystified or Anthropology Simplified. This is what you have to do. Beyond that, there is Indian Anthropology. For Indian Anthropology, Topper's notes. Topper's notes, any of you, or any Topper's notes that you want to you can just check it out on the channel Telegram group and you can see whatever suits you. Along with that, you have to read EPG Pathshala. right? EPG Pathshala unit wise. The Anthro syllabus is very descriptive. You can just see a particular unit and search it on EPG Pathshala, and you will get the detailed content for that particular thing. You have to take validation from that particular source. Same goes for tribal anthropology also. Topos notes or any coaching material notes that you're following along with EPG Pathshala. Because in tribal anthropology, the questions are from the perspective what are the recent problems that the tribals are facing. Now, what is the problem of land alienation? What is the problem with rehabilitation and all? Now, all these things needs updated content. If you're whatever is given in Nadeem Hussain's book is very good, very excellent. But now people are moving beyond that, and you need to be, in pace with it, in consonance with it, so that you'll be able to score 300 plus marks. This is what you have to do. Apart from that, if you need any help from my side in deciding the book list or mentorship or how you should approach anthropology is optional. You can connect with me by filling the description. There is a form in the description. You can fill it and you can connect with me. And for topos notes and all the other organized, unstructured material in an organized way on a Telegram group, you can join this particular group, right? So, for example, this is the topos notes that are posted on our Telegram channel, Gitanjali Sharma ma'am, AIR32 2019. उनके social cultural anthropology, one click. Physical anthropology, one click. Archaeology paper, two tribal anthropology, just one click and you will have it everything in one platform so that your precious time is conserved and you can invest your time in reading and studying and clearing the exam. So thank you so much for joining this particular video. If you have any issues, any concerns, please feel free to reach out. My name is Nikhil Parihar and this was Ultimate Booklist for Anthropology. Thank you so much. Have a nice journey ahead. All the best. Bye guys.